Hi everyone, welcome to my very first YouTube video. I'm Valeria, and if you're from my TikTok, I'm very glad you made it here. And if you're new here, welcome to the cozy corner of the internet I'm trying to create. I've been getting so many messages on my TikTok about creating a YouTube channel, and to be honest, it took me a while to actually consider that, but here we are. Today I want to share with you 3 super cozy projects to keep you warm this winter and the end of the fall. A scarf, a beanie, and hand warmers or fingerless gloves, call it as you wish. And a small disclaimer, if you're a beginner, don't worry, these projects are super easy and very repetitive. Now let's talk about the materials that you're gonna need for all these projects. First of all, yarn, obviously. I'm using just cotton yarn for the hand warmers and the beanie in this red wine burgundy color, but if you want your projects to keep you even warmer, then feel free to go for wool. And for the scarf, I decided to use chunky yarn in this brighter red color. The next thing that you're gonna need is a hook that's suitable for your yarn, scissors, and the last thing, personally I didn't use them, but if you find them helpful, then feel free to use stitch markers. And I forgot to mention, but you're also gonna need a tapestry needle. Enough of me talking, let's get straight to the tutorials. Let's start with the beanie. For this project, I'm using the cotton yarn I've talked about before and a 3.5mm crochet hook. And since my yarn is quite thin, I'm making it chunkier by folding it into 3 layers. And here I'm showing you how it's done. So I basically just fold the yarn into 3 layers and then I just make a slip knot as usual, how I would do it with the regular yarn. Now we'll start by making a foundation chain that matches the height of your beanie, including the brim. As I already said, begin by making a slip knot and start chaining. This chain represents the length from the top of your head to just past your ears, including any extra length for a folded brim. The number of chains depends on your yarn hook size and the height you prefer for your beanie. I used one of my other beanies as a reference to check the height and overall size while crocheting. This helps to ensure a perfect fit. Once you're satisfied with the length of your chain, chain 1, this is our turning chain, and let's move on to the first row. For the first row, we'll work half double crochets. To make a half double crochet, yarn over, insert your hook into the second chain from the hook, yarn over again and pull up a loop. You'll have 3 loops on your hook and yarn over once more and pull through all 3 loops. Repeat this stitch on each chain across. When you reach the end of the row, chain 1 and turn your work. Now we'll start creating the drip texture. From here on, work into the back loops only. Look at the top of your stitches, you'll see 2 loops. But insert your hook into the back loop only and continue making half double crochets. Repeat this back loop, half double crochet in every stitch across. Right now it's where all the fun begins. At this point you can pause the video, turn on your fave movie or TV show and continue making those second rows till you reach the circumference of your head. I recommend checking the length by wrapping the rectangle around your head or referencing a beanie you already own. Once your rectangle matches the circumference of your head, it's time to join the edges. For that, I'm going to be using slip stitches. To make a slip stitch, insert your hook through both loops on the edge of each row and pull up a loop. Then pull through the loop on your hook. Continue slip stitching until you've reached the length of the brim. Now at this point, just turn your work and continue slip stitching the remaining edge. And the brim should be facing outward on the right side. Once the edges are joined, chain 1 to secure the yarn and cut the end, leaving a long tail. Now let's sew the top of the beanie to close it. For that, thread the long tail that we left onto a strong tapestry needle, and I highly recommend a metal needle as it's much easier to work with. So sew a running stitch along the top edge of the beanie, going in and out through each row as shown on the video. At this point, as you can see, I broke my tapestry needle, so I had to continue with a plastic one, and to be honest, it was a torture to work with it, so I highly recommend using a strong needle for this. When you've stitched all the way around, gently pull the yarn to gather the top closed. Now I'm just adding a few random stitches across the top for extra security. Now what's left is just to wave in and cut the ends. Turn your work and congratulations, your beanie's done. Now let's make the hand warmers. This time I'm not layering my yarn, so that's why I'm just using a 2mm crochet hook. Again, start by making a slip knot and create a foundation chain that matches the height of your hand warmers. This will determine how far up your wrist and fingers they'll go. And again, the number of chains will vary based on your yarn, hook size, and the length you want for your hand warmers. Now check if you're satisfied with your length and make a turning chain. For the first row, we'll work single crochets. For that, skip the first chain and insert your hook into the second one from the hook. Yarn over and pull up a loop. You'll have 2 loops on your hook, and then yarn over again and pull through both loops. Repeat this stitch in each chain across. When you reach the end of the first row, chain 1 again and turn your work. We're gonna be using actually the same technique we used for the beanie to create that ribbed texture by working into the back loops only. Just this time we're gonna be using single crochets instead of half double crochets. So for the second row, repeat this back loop single crochet in every stitch across.
And now keep working rows of back loop single crochet until your rectangle is long enough to wrap around your hand with a little stretch. You want it snug but not too tight. Once your rectangle is the perfect size to wrap around your hand, it's time to join the edges. Fold your rectangle in half and now we'll slip stitch the edges together. And don't forget to leave a hole for your thumb. Once the edges are fully joined, try on your hand warmer and check the fit. If it feels too loose, you can undo some of the rows, and the opposite, if they're too tight, then add a couple of more rows. If you're happy with how it fits, then just fasten off your yarn and weave in the ends. To complete the pair, simply repeat the same process for the second hand warmer, and we are done. Now we're making the scarf. For that I'm using chunky yarn with 6mm crochet hook, and once again we're gonna be using the exact same stitch that we used for the beanie. Start by making a slip knot and chain the desired number of stitches for your scarf's length. And I will admit, working with a 6mm crochet hook after 2mm is so satisfying. Once you're happy with the length, let's move on to the first row, but don't forget to chain 1. This is our turning chain, but actually at this point it doesn't really matter, but afterwards between the rows it's essential to chain 1 before turning your work. For the first row and basically for all the other following rows, we'll work half double crochets. Insert your hook into the second chain from the hook and make a half double crochet as I showed you previously already, and repeat this half double crochet across the entire row. And again, of course, don't forget to chain 1 between the rows. Starting from the second row, we'll be working in the back loops only. Repeat this back loop half double crochet all the way across. And now just keep repeating the back loop half double crochet rows with a chain 1 in between until your scarf reaches the desired width. When your scarf is wide enough, chain 1 to secure the yarn fast enough and wave in the ends. I'm using my crochet hook for that because I couldn't find my tapestry needles. Now let's add some fringe. First of all, you have to decide on your desired length of your fringe and cut a piece of yarn, fold it in half. Cut several pieces of yarn with the same length. Take a strand, or if you're using a quite thin yarn, then take 2 to 3 strands and fold them in half to form a loop. Then insert your hook into the edge of the scarf where you want to attach the fringe, pull the loop through the stitch, then pull the ends through the loop and tighten. Repeat this process along the end of the scarf, spacing the fringe evenly and trim any uneven ends if needed at the end. Repeat the same thing on the other side and your scarf is done.
You made it to the end of the video. I really hope you found it helpful for you, and I'm really grateful for each of you who joined me on this YouTube journey. And please feel free to let me know in the comments what kind of videos you want to see from me, maybe specific projects or even something completely unrelated to crochet. I'm sending you all my love and positive energy, and see you in the next one.